Okay, so this week we are talking about the Louisiana Purchase and then the Lewis and Clark expedition of the Louisiana Territory. And so far we've talked about how America has really shaped itself, politically, militarily, with their foreign policy and how they've dealt with, Great Britain and France. And now we're kind of taking a step back to look at another significant event that one could argue was just as significant as any of those in determining the path America would take in the future. And that is the Louisiana Purchase. And as you can see on the map, this dark green area in the middle, it's basically the Midwest as we know it. Modern states like Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, all of these states came from this territory. And it was purchased for about $15 million, which is just pennies per acre, and essentially doubled the size of the country. Jefferson, created an executive order. Didn't ask Congress for permission, like he should have, or like the Constitution asks of him. Instead, he created this executive order that said, basically, and the reason he used was, anytime you have the opportunity to benefit the country in this way, the president's job is to do that. It isn't to go through the congressional process that takes months to get something done. It is to, if you have the opportunity to do it now. And really, it's all thanks to this guy, Napoleon Bonaparte. He's the leader of France at the time, and is conducting basically a worldwide venture to take over the world. Alright, this week we were talking about the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark expedition. And we're rewinding just a little bit because we've gone through the War of 1812, but now we're going back to the year of 1803, when this centered piece here, this beautiful land we call the Midwest, was purchased by Thomas Jefferson from Napoleon Bonaparte. It was purchased for $15 million, which is just pennies per acre, and it essentially doubled the size of the country. And Jefferson at the time, if you remember kind of back, he believed in a very small government, that limited powers of the president. But in this specific case, he used immense powers of the presidency to purchase this territory. He didn't ask for permission from Congress. He didn't go through that channel. Instead, he created an executive order to purchase this land from France. And that's seen as sort of going against what Jefferson believed in, but he never really backed down from it. Instead, he reasoned that anytime the president has the opportunity to benefit the country in this kind of way, that his job and his duty is to do that. Okay. Now, the person he bought it from is this guy, Napoleon Bonaparte. He's the leader of France at the time, and Napoleon is kind of running into some trouble from this guy. This is Toussaint Louverture from France. He is a former slave that has led this uprising in Haiti, which is, if you remember, or if you're familiar, is just to the southeast of Florida there, and just to the southeast a little bit further from New Orleans, which is in Louisiana today. Now, Haiti used to be under control of France, and a revolution occurred, the Haitian Revolution, for these people's freedom, and Toussaint Louverture was the one who was leading that revolution against Napoleon. And Napoleon thought, well, we'll just send more troops and kind of, squash this whole rebellion, but it never worked out that way. And in fact, the slaves and this rebellion was very successful in getting the French out of Haiti. And when the French were expelled from Haiti, Napoleon basically kind of gave up on owning territory in North America. That venture was over now that Haiti was lost. He had other pressing concerns in Europe and said, you know what, I just need to get rid of this territory. And that's why he sold it for so cheap to Thomas Jefferson, is because he was trying to get rid of it. And that's how America came to double its size effectively. Now, Jefferson hires two guys. One is his personal secretary, Meriwether Lewis, and the other is William Clark, an officer in the military. Both of these guys are explorers, or scientists, or people that he trusts to sort of document their journey in exploring the Louisiana Territory. And he gives them the title, the Corps of Discovery. And their task is basically to find a path from St. Louis all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Okay, and that's kind of detailed in the map here, the path that they take. And they end up taking what is now the Missouri River. and which goes through Missouri up into Omaha, Nebraska, through the Dakotas into the Rockies, and then spits out into the Pacific Ocean eventually along the Columbia River. Okay, now this journey, like I said, starts in St. Louis, which is on the banks of the Mississippi River. Okay, and we honor that today in St. Louis with the arch here, which is called the Gateway to the West, and the Jefferson Memorial there in the middle. Okay, this is meant to honor Lewis and Clark's journey. It's meant to honor Jefferson's initiative in creating the core of discovery and the exploration of the West. Okay, and you can see the journey that they take from the East Coast to St. Louis, again, up into Omaha, and this journey takes a couple years. It's not easy. Everything is a very difficult travel to get through the Missouri River. They come into contact with several Native American tribes. They come into contact with other difficulties as well, but they're eventually able to make it to the West Coast and to the Pacific Ocean. One person that helped these two, along with the other members of their corps, was Sacagawea. And I think most people are familiar with that name, but maybe not familiar with sort of what she did. And she was a Native American woman that was familiar with the Missouri River, familiar with the land, and was able to help this group of men find their way to the Pacific Ocean. And what's just remarkable is how strong she was and the strength that she showed during this time. I mean, she gave birth to a child. She cared for that child during this time period of helping these two men. And so when we talk about Lewis and Clark, we always need to make sure we mention the help the Native Americans gave them, but then also the help that Sacagawea lent them as well. Okay. Now, when they get to up in Montana, they run into this sort of situation. We're in this is exactly what it looks like. Is the Three Forks of the Missouri River, where they could go any direction, and it's sort of one of those things where, like if you're driving on the interstate today and you see like 8 different exits, you know, what exit do you take? And it's kind of the same situation here, where what river do you take? What river is going to lead this group of men to the Pacific Ocean? And these Three Forks is in Montana, and it's a significant part of the journey because it eventually does lead them to the Pacific Ocean. And when it does, it takes them along the Columbia River, and it takes them to what we know today as Oregon. And the town of Astoria is sort of centered around that area today. And that happens in September of 1806. So about 2 years and 3 months after the journey began, they have finally reached the Pacific Ocean. They set up camp there, they set up a fort, they stayed to do some other explorations. And this is a significant moment for America because up to this point, if you remember, we had only been on the East Coast. You know, we had never really left, you know, the anywhere west of the Mississippi River, and to get to this point in a matter of years just basically opens up a whole new door of possibilities for the country, and it is what inspires so many people to leave the comforts of the East Coast to move west and make their own path in this new territory. Okay, now to wrap this all up, the new governor of the Louisiana Territory, he becomes Meriwether Lewis. Jefferson has trusted him for a long time as his secretary, and then you know, as sort of a reward for the successful expedition, makes him the governor of the Louisiana Territory. And William Clark here ends up living a very successful life in St. Louis as well. And both men are honored in numerous ways. If you look around our city of Omaha, we have the Lewis and Clark Landing, we have Lewis and Clark Middle School, we have Lewis Central High School over in Council Bluffs. These men, along with Sacagawea and the belief of Thomas Jefferson, if these guys didn't do what they did, the West would look completely different than it became. What we have in future lessons that we're going to learn are these men and women that would make their way to create the states of Kansas, Nebraska, but then also Utah and California, and lead basically the America out of the colonial revolutionary eras that we have been talking about into a new age. And it's an exciting time period, and these people are really the ones that pulled America into that. Okay, well, let me know if you have any questions. Hope you're enjoying your snow days, and I'll be back on Monday, whether you like it or not. But I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. It's been you know, a lot of fun being at home, but basically can't wait to get back into the classroom. So anyway, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.